have not been
I'm sorry, guys. I just wanted to fast forward through the soapbox speech. We know it.
successful. But this is not to help people drop the last bit of baby weight. This is not to help you fit into your wedding dress that you bought a
Because you're evil if you want to do that. That's what she's saying.
size too small. This is
You do
nutrition
you guys.
medical therapy for a chronic disease intended to be used for life. And even if you
Good morning, beautiful people. It's Mama Goob. I want to do something a little bit different today, but in the vein of me trying to help people like Amberlyn Reed or like yourselves watching this who are considering weight loss surgery and in the beginnings of the process to get it. So, in my algorithms yesterday, I came across a video by Abbey Sharp, who is a registered dietitian. So, I used to watch Abbey Sharp back in the day, probably early 2000s and such, but unsubscribed to her because I really couldn't stand or stomach the whole like, this is a trigger warning, this is a trigger warning, this is a trigger warning. Look, no, I get people being upset by watching weight loss related shows, but if you're clicking on Abby Sharp and you see the description that she's a registered dietitian, she's going to talk about dieting. Okay. So I think the reason why it gets me is because I just feel like it's disingenuous. Like she's trying to ride both sides of the wave. You know what I mean? And it comes off as disingenuous because either say it or don't say it, okay? You click on the video, you know it's a registered dietitian, you know there's going to be weight loss talk. Just like if you click on Amberlyn Reed, you're going to get an obese person. You click on my videos, Mama Goob's weight loss or Mama Goob's journey here, you know you're going to get somebody talking about weight loss surgery. So you've been warned. So I found her just annoying, okay? But she's got some great points. So this video came across my feed yesterday about her take on Ozempic, and she describes the science behind it. So I wanted to watch her video together with you, and I want to give you my thoughts, and I want to actually add to some of her points. She's very brilliant. She's trying to be funny a lot in this video by using, strong language. She's trying to appeal to the Z's, I guess, the Gen Z's. It's fine. I mean, I just like I hope that I'm not trying as hard as Abby is to get an audience. So, anyways, without further ado, let's see what she's got to say. And I'm not sure if we'll do the whole video or just parts at this point, but let's take a look at it together and see what we can see. And this is 23 minutes. I am not going to speed it up at this point, but we might not watch the whole thing. So the title is I'm finally ready to share my honest thoughts on Ozempic. This will probably upset some people. See, this I just can't with this one. I just can't. My videos right now, they're going to upset you. To some people. Some people agree with me, some people don't. But we're going to watch this in the vein of somebody prepping for weight loss surgery. So, not necessarily somebody who wants to be on Ozempic for the rest of their lives, which is a personal decision.
it's finally time I talk about Ozempic. It's been called the not so secret miracle weight loss drug of Hollywood elite. It's been
It's the whole TikTok thing, guys. I just don't get into the TikTok thing. I don't have TikTok. I don't care. Actually, the more popular something is, the more I want to shy away from it.
rumored to be linked to the Kardashians' recent body transformations and celebrities like Mindy Kaling, and it's been confirmed that it's helped other major players like Elon Musk drop some serious lbs.
Well, everybody hates Elon Musk, so that's why we're talking about him specifically.
But some media reports have not been so kind. The Guardian, for example, coined it an eating disorder in an injection or the clockwork orange for junk food, while body positive activists like Aubrey Gordon see it as society's last ditch effort to get rid of fat people for
Yeah, isn't that terrible? We want to get rid of disease. Jeez.
good. But regardless of the backlash, it's quickly become one of the hottest hashtags on TikTok. Aside from Botox and maybe Viagra, it seems like Ozempic is now one of the most recognizable pharma brand names of our generation. Most Gen Zs and millennials are now more tuned with Ozempic news than local politics, worldwide disasters, a global pandemic, or the weather in our own back.
Yeah, that's a problem. That annoys me. Okay. Or my lovely children who get a lot of their news from TikTok. Please, no, please.
Backyard. Not surprisingly, the social media buzz alone is now believed to be the lead cause of a shortage in the United States. And this shortage has people fired the up. It honestly feels a little
She said the F word. She's so edgy.
scary to be even talking about this as a straight-sized anti-diet culture dietitian, but I'm finally ready to try to clear the air. Folks, let's talk about Ozempic. Hey everyone, I'm Abbey Sharp. Welcome to Abby's Kitchen.
Science and sass.
Today, we'll be discussing the notorious TikTok endorsed weight loss drug Ozempic and its lesser known cousins Mounjaro and Wegovy. But first, I want, of course, to put up a key disclaimer here. We're going to
All right, guys, look, it's in red. Trigger warning. Okay. So if it all offends you, click off now.
be talking about weight loss explicitly and in some cases, extreme weight loss. So please feel free to skip this if it's not supportive to your journey. Time coming, and a much needed follow up to a now deleted TikTok that I posted back in January of this year. We need to talk about this latest weight loss magic drug that is taking social media and Hollywood by storm. In that video, I attempted to simply give the facts about Ozempic in a quick 60 seconds. I mentioned that it was a diabetes medication being used off-label for weight loss, that there was a shortage now due to its popularity, and what you could expect for weight loss success, monthly price, and also weight regain when you came off the drugs. And while a lot of you got my message, especially those who were the first to watch it, others were upset that it felt like I was insinuating that folks with obesity should be kind of second fiddle to those with diabetes who, according to some authorities, should be prioritized for a coveted dose.
Well, okay. I could argue both sides of this. The thing about people with diabetes, there are other medicines besides Ozempic. There's Jardiance. There's just a bunch of them, and that's fine. And so I get it. Like, I don't think one disease is more important than the other. But on another hand, you know, you're kind of past the point of no return once you have diabetes. Like, when you're just obese without diabetes, there's still other things you could do besides Ozempic. Like, I don't know, weight loss surgery.
That absolutely wasn't my intention, but there really is only
She's so scared.
so much nuance that I can give in 60 seconds. Hence why I'm now going to tell you in a lot more detail how I actually feel about this new wave of
Don't cancel me. Don't cancel me.
weight loss drugs, and some of you might be shocked with my take. So let's start with some cold, hard
Yeah,
facts.
guys.
First of all, as many of you guys know, Ozempic is not even a medication for weight loss. It's currently only approved for diabetes. But the active ingredient in Ozempic, semaglutide, is also found in a drug that is approved for obesity
Right.
called Wegovy.
Right.
Now, when Wegovy demand outdid supply earlier on in this year, doctors started to prescribe Ozempic off-label for weight loss because the active ingredient was the same.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
But then, like the great toilet paper gate of March 2020, news reports claimed that Ozempic also was becoming hard to get, not only for folks now using it for obesity, but also for those with diabetes who had been taking the drug for years. Now, the final player here is Mounjaro, but the active drug here is something called tirzepatide,
Yeah, I don't know much about Mounjaro, so this is interesting.
which has slightly different properties that I'm going to discuss in a moment. But like Ozempic, at this time of filming at least, it's only approved for diabetes, though it is also being prescribed off-label for obesity. So why the sudden spike in demand with these new age weight loss drugs? Well, probably partially celebrities, partially TikTok testimonials, partially lingering COVID pounds, and mostly the fact they honestly really do work.
I know, right? Imagine obese people wanting some help losing weight that they can't lose on their own. Imagine that.
We had semaglutide or tirzepatide. We had a bunch of other weight loss drugs with less than stellar track records. Most resulted in about 5 to 8% weight loss on average, but came with a laundry list of not so sexy side effects like loss of voice, difficulty breathing, anxiety,
Loss of voice.
insomnia, or the dreaded orlistat anal leakage.
Yeah.
Not sure I would be okay with my ass leaking to just lose 5%, but hey,
Yeah.
everyone's priorities and values will differ. Now, as an upgrade, most studies on semaglutide suggest it results in about 15% loss of body weight when paired with healthy lifestyle interventions like diet and exercise. So that is a pretty dramatic leap in my books. Now, tirzepatide, which is the active ingredient in Mounjaro, is potentially even more promising. And while it hasn't been directly compared to a dose of semaglutide typically provided for weight loss, preliminary evidence suggests that it may result in up to 20 to 25% of body weight loss, possibly even more for some folks. So what are these drugs doing anyway? Well, Wegovy, Ozempic, and Mounjaro are all GLP-1 agonists, aka glucagon-like peptide-1 agonists. The word agonist means it acts similarly to our body's natural hormone, GLP-1, and this hormone has a multitude of benefits. But in short, it helps to slow down food absorption in the stomach so you feel full longer. It regulates insulin and blood sugars, and most importantly, it tells the brain that you are full.
Wait a second. Let's look at this again. All right. So it works on the brain memory impairment. Wow. Motor function. Okay. Signal. All right. So the signal level of satiety is like the hunger hormones, liver, glucose, great, pancreas, GI tract. So it slows your stomach down. That's important. And now the heart. Uh-oh, this is where Amber Lynn would struggle. It actually brings your heart rate up. Oh no. So, but I mean, you know, they're going to talk in a minute about diet and exercise. And to me, this seems like it'd make diet and exercise easier because if your stomach is taking longer to empty and the satiety levels are increasing, then you're going to want to stay on a diet. That's the trick.
It tells the brain that you are full. Now, Mounjaro is not only a GLP-1 agonist, but it's also a GIP agonist, aka glucose-dependent insulinotropic polypeptide. Yes, the combo of those two very, very long words seems to have synergistic effects, making Mounjaro more powerful than just a GLP-1 agonist alone. And this is why it seems to be more effective and is cited to overtake the Ozempic and Wegovy craze, though research is still in its infancy.
Good.
But back to why Ozempic and its cousins are causing rapid weight loss in so many folks. Ultimately, these drugs significantly suppress hunger,
Which make diet easier. The same thing is with weight loss surgery. It suppresses hunger, at least initially. For the first year or two, enough for you to get down to a manageable level and learn new habits.
and this tends to make achieving a calorie deficit a lot easier. In fact, it's been shown to reduce calorie intake by 35% without changing people's perceived hunger levels in the day. In other words, you can eat a lot less and not feel hungry.
Yeah.
And this unique mechanism is arguably the essential key to long-term weight loss success. This drug is essentially suppressing the body's natural compensatory mechanisms that kick into high gear whenever we are put in a calorie deficit.
Weight loss surgery kind of does the same thing.
Normally, when we're on a diet, our body fights to maintain body weight homeostasis by increasing our hunger hormones and decreasing satiety hormones in this desperate effort to make us eat more. And as I discussed in my video on weight loss right here, this is one of the many reasons why long-term weight maintenance is really hard. Without medications like Ozempic, the body is programmed to ramp up that appetite with every extra pound of body weight we lose. Some research even suggests that these hunger adaptations persist for years after the diet ends.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about extreme hunger on this channel. This is basically it. Now, aside from the physical hunger, Ozempic, Wegovy, and Mounjaro also help to reduce cravings and help people feel more in control with
Yeah,
their food intake.
that's fantastic.
Again, this is revolutionary in the weight loss world because typically people who have lost weight experience more cravings and less satisfaction after eating, which in turn can derail long term efforts. So, bottom line, these weight loss drugs are not magic. They still require a calorie deficit to work. But because of the impact on physical satiety and psychological satisfaction, they make obtaining that deficit
Right.
much, much easier.
Exactly. This is the key. I'm going to argue a little bit further as she goes down and talks about the long term use of these drugs that weight loss surgery does the same thing. So if you're at the point where the surgery is not safe at your weight, when you're like, 600 pounds, 500 pounds, taking these drugs, like, and going on Dr. Now's 1200 calorie diet, I think would be a lot more attainable than white knuckling through it. The weight loss surgery does this too, though. So it temporarily eliminates, especially the vertical sleeve gastrectomy, the hunger hormones. They do come back though, because your brain does also make them as well. But at least you'll have a honeymoon period for a time that if you could manage not to push through the pain, you will lose the weight. And hopefully work on yourself mentally at this time too, and learn how to not use food as a coping mechanism going forward. I know it's a big ask, but this is what people who care about their health, this is what they kind of do.
Here. So those are the facts. But now we got to touch on the juicy controversies surrounding this drug and the great shortage of 2023. So let's start with the $1 million question that has rocked people's worlds. Who is worthy of obtaining this drug? Should we be prioritizing folks with
We're not worthy. We're not worthy. All right. A, a star, if you can tell me where that's from.
a disease like diabetes when people in larger bodies should just be kind of putting in the work at the gym? There's a lot to unpack. You've all seen the horror stories on TikTok and other news outlets from folks who were prescribed Ozempic for diabetes needing to cross state lines just to find a single dose of their life-saving meds.
Okay.
When you imagine the stress and anxiety of being unable to fulfill a prescription,
By the way, my insurance doesn't even cover Ozempic, even if I had diabetes. Just FYI. So I would be crossing state lines and paying $1,000.
because it's going to an unofficial demographic,
I mean, it's crap, but that welcome to the world.
you could probably appreciate and empathize with the anger, frustration, and fear. On the flip side, it's worth pointing out that obesity, not unlike diabetes, is also recognized officially as a chronic disease
Yeah.
worthy of medical support. And that is done by authorities like Obesity Canada, the Canadian Medical Association, the American Medical Association, and the World Health Organization. So I know that this is in stark opposition to the teachings of HAES, or Health at Every Size, but you guys know by now that I don't personally identify with all aspects of that movement.
But she must identify with some of them or she will get canceled.
I do think that for some folks, weight loss may help to support their physical health and their psychological well-being.
think?
I also try to follow the science as objectively as possible.
Good.
And the science tells us that not unlike someone with diabetes needing pharmaceutical support for blood sugar management, many folks with obesity may need medical intervention to override some of the genetic factors responsible for differences in reward response, hunger and fullness cues, and propensity to gain weight in today's environment. Which brings me to the importance
With the crap food that's out there that's so easy. You just pop it in the microwave like this Amber Lynn with her pre-cooked rice and stuff. Come on, you're home all day. You can't cook rice?
of genetics and why some folks may not be able to dramatically shift their set point weight without some form of medical intervention. Weight gain and weight loss capabilities are genetically determined. Some people will naturally experience higher appetite or greater dopamine spikes from food, or lower reward stimulation from exercise, greater relief from stress from overconsumption, a stronger drive to eat when experiencing negative emotions, or lower sense of fullness from calorie consumption alone. Research on twins separated and raised by two different
All
families
right,
have found
guys.
that obesity is actually a
I just let her talk. I'm just fine. You want to say it's genetic? Whatever helps you, I don't care. See, that's the thing where I get about Amberlynn and everybody. A diagnosis, okay, great. What are you going to do to fix it, right? You can't fix your genetics. Apparently, Amberlynn thinks she can't fix excoriation or anxiety. What are you doing about it? You get the diagnosis, fine, but don't lean into it.
about 70% genetically determined and only 30% environment. Hence the adage,
Okay.
genetics load the gun and environment pulls the trigger.
Okay.
Likewise, some people are going to experience more negative health outcomes when living with obesity than others.
Yeah.
This is not a homogeneous group, so we cannot judge a book by its cover here. Body weight does not equal health outcomes.
True.
It is so much more complex than
It
that.
is.
And this is not a homogeneous group. So we really do need to look at the individual to determine.
Yeah, there's no way you're telling me though a 500-pound person is healthy. Okay, because just like Amberlynn, one slip or fall, bedbound, and a dangling lung.
If adding in medication to complement a healthy lifestyle would be right and supportive for them. And it's worth emphasizing that even with medication, the recommendations do still focus on nutrition, exercise, and lifestyle intervention as the first line of defense, both before, during, and of course, after medical obesity treatment.
Mhm.
So, no one here is suggesting that taking a weight loss drug like Ozempic is a free ride.
Of
And
course.
speaking of free ride, these medications are not without side.
Okay, so let's see. Let's look at the side effects. So placebo and Wegovy. So Wegovy or Wegovy or whatever, nausea, diarrhea, vomiting, constipation, um, abdominal pain, headache, not so much, fatigue, yes. I'm thinking about what happens when you have weight loss surgery. Hair loss is actually a big one with weight loss surgery. Anytime that you either drop weight dramatically or just, I've heard the anesthesia that they give you for weight loss surgery, that causes it a lot too. So, but at least nausea, diarrhea, vomiting, and constipation, abdominal pain, fatigue, weight loss surgery all day. Gastric reflux disease, GERD, I have that. Flatulence, it happens with weight loss. Anytime you have weight loss, you get flatulence. I don't know. Hypoglycemia, I get that. Anyways, interesting.
Side effects. The most common side effect is nausea, followed by some of the other usual GI suspects. Thankfully, most people report that nausea declines pretty steadily over time,
And being nauseous all the time sucks.
but for a lot of folks, it's completely debilitating.
Ask any person with morning sickness. It's not just in the morning, it's all day. For like, I don't know, 6 weeks, 12 weeks.
With a lot of users describing being suddenly repulsed by even seeing their favorite foods,
Yeah.
and some even report being turned off or filled up too quickly by water, which can potentially put one at risk for dehydration as well.
Yeah.
There are also more
It's why you got to sip it all day.
or potentially dangerous side effects like thyroid cancer seen in animal research, plus pancreatitis or gallstones. But not unlike the birth control pill, antidepressants, or
Yeah.
even an antibiotic, medicine is all about a risk and benefit
It is,
analysis.
yes.
It's
Yep.
all about weighing the potential discomforts or risks with the potential benefits,
Right.
both immediately and long term.
Yep.
Different people are going to react differently, and for some, those risks.
Well, there's only one medicine that I could think of that's perfect for everybody, but I'm not going to mention it here. But there is one, three medicines, maybe four, depending on where you are, that are perfect for everybody, and you should never ask your doctor.
Or discomforts won't outweigh the benefits of the medication. And this is why it's so important to work with your healthcare team to determine if an intervention like this is right for you. Yes, I know I sound like these sped up disclaimers in a
No,
pharmaceutical infomercial right
yeah.
now, but seriously,
I agree with those disclaimers. Yes.
everyone's experiences will be unique.
Yeah. Your mileage may vary.
But let's move along to talk about the elephant in the room. If you started taking Ozempic to lose some weight, do you now need to stay on it for life?
Yes. Short answer, yes, unless you get weight loss surgery.
Well, If you want to keep the weight off for life, probably yes. Well, research suggests that 1 year after coming off of Ozempic or Wegovy, participants gained on average 2/3 of the weight right back. And this really isn't a surprise because, as we established earlier on, the main reason why we see such success with this medication beyond just lifestyle habits is because it helps to counteract the increased appetite associated with weight loss.
Right. So if you're taking this to get to a safe weight so you can get the weight loss surgery will sort of not permanently, but you can't undo the initial effects of the weight loss surgery, right? So you're going to have a less of an appetite. The hunger hormones will be cut. What the real goal is they get it through your thick head that you have to, during this time where the tool is working for you 100%, you have to learn to get your relationship with food in line. Okay. So that's why I don't necessarily look, and everybody's going to be their own person, right? I am not saying you should or shouldn't take the drug forever. You have to make the decision. But I'm more pro using these to get to the point to where you could do something permanent and naturally with the surgery and then learn how to deal with it when your hunger does come back in about a year, 6 months, depending.
But if we go off the drug and now we're at a lower body weight, our appetite dramatically rages not only to its normal pre-drug levels, but maybe even higher as our body fights to get us back to its preferred set point
Right.
weight. There may be some patients who can slowly wean while maintaining a very strict diet and exercise regimen, but I would expect it to feel like a real struggle after having this pharmaceutical boost. So tell me what you really think, Abby. First of all, I believe in body autonomy. I say it all the time. And I don't think that one chronic disease cohort is more worthy than another of
Okay.
access
Yep.
to a potentially life saving or life changing drug.
Sure.
It's really a shame that we need to triage patients or turn getting a prescription into a modern.
So that's why when Amberlyn Reed said, well, I don't, I want to give it to a person with diabetes, she's just as much at danger. Okay. She is.
Hunger Games, especially because there's already so much stigma and shame
And I don't believe she doesn't have the beginnings of diabetes, anyways. It runs in her family. She's 500 pounds. She's got it.
for folks in larger bodies trying to access supportive care. If a medication can help them regain their
Yeah.
mobility,
Oh, yeah.
metabolic health,
Yep.
happiness, confidence, whatever, I am all here for it.
Amen.
That said, I have a lot of fears. For one, I'm worried that social media and Hollywood culture are positioning these drugs as a fast, easy solution for rapid weight loss.
Well, yeah, they are. They've done that. Media's done that through forever, like forever. Like you read old newspapers, it's human nature.
That they're just something you can take when you want to fit into a certain gala dress or for a bikini vacation. And then you can go off it again when you want to have a cheat day with your girls. I also worry that due to shortages and desperation, that people will seek out unregulated compounded cocktails
Oh, yeah.
underground. For some completely bogus reasons, generic semaglutide is exempt from normal FDA approval. So
Really?
a lot of pharmacies and medi spas are now offering their own weight loss cocktails that they compound themselves, often for much cheaper than the brand name.
Oh,
But experts are warning that because it is unregulated and untested, these compounded prescriptions could be ineffective at best and dangerous at worst.
yeah.
So, in my books, it's really not worth taking the
No,
risk.
that's
I
bad.
also fear that people
Yeah, don't do that, guys. Don't do that. That's scary.
will see this as a replacement for physical activity and a
No,
balanced, nutrient dense diet. The
no.
research suggests that a large proportion of weight lost while taking these medications is lean muscle mass, around 39% of the weight lost, according
Of course, if you don't do any exercise, that's absolutely what's going to happen.
to one study. So, if we're not supporting the pharmaceutical regimen with a protein rich diet and resistance exercise, we may potentially be making ourselves more metabolically healthy in one way at the expense of another.
Yeah.
And I've been focusing on health here, but not surprisingly, the internet has been focused.
Yeah, after weight loss surgery, you have the same problem. You've got to do resistance. You've got to do walking at minimum.
focusing on the Ozempic aesthetic, most notoriously the now stigmatized Ozempic face. This is a whole other topic worth unpacking related to ageism,
Ugh.
classism, and access. But from a nutritional perspective, I just think it's a good reminder that nutrition really does still matter here. And Ozempic users do
Anytime you get weight loss, you get that look.
need to focus on having a high quality diet to maintain muscle mass with such rapid weight loss.
Yeah.
Finally, again, another huge, massive topic that needs a whole other video to unpack. But I am terrified about the long term implications on general body dysmorphia and what is even considered a normal, healthy weight. I wouldn't have concerns if these drugs were only being used as intended for folks with chronic obesity or
I'm gonna fast
diabetes,
forward
but
through
when
some of this.
every have not been
I'm sorry, guys. I just wanted to fast forward through the soapbox speech. We know it.
successful. But this is not to help people drop the last bit of baby weight. This is not to help you fit into your wedding dress that you bought a
Because you're evil if you want to do that. That's what she's saying.
size too small. This is
You do
nutrition
you, guys.
medical therapy for a chronic disease intended to be used for life. And even if you do fit the target criteria and demographic, taking Ozempic is not a quick fix invitation to never
We
exercise
know.
or eat a vegetable again.
Hey, that's basically the end of it, guys. She goes into this nutritionist here or this weight loss person, and I just don't care. Sorry. All right. Thoughts? I mean, she's got some great points. I agree with her on a lot. Like I say, I don't necessarily agree that Ozempic is the end all be all. I think if you're at the weight where you need medical assistance for weight loss, you need to get the surgery. You need to get the surgery. You need to take the cravings away for something where you can't just not take it. You know, like I've often said, it's the diet you can't cheat on, at least at first. Work on yourself, get your mind in order, figure out what led you to use food as a coping mechanism as it is. Stay away from all other things like alcohol and drugs and get yourself in order. And I think if you use the drug for that purpose, then you know you're one up on society because health is it. This is it. We have one chance at this, one chance at life. We get one body. You have to make the best of it. So, anyways, that's really all I had for you this morning. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate your continued support. Anyways, enjoy the rest of your day, guys. Bye.